The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation. But did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio and have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see, every moment can be kind of special. But it can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments. It doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. There you go. Now we're back. We're back. We're live. We're brand new. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, welcome in on a Thursday morning. A chilly start to your day in the Tennessee Valley. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed today. Don't forget, we're getting you started thanks to Talkin Heating and Air. If you're waking up this morning and it's a little chilly inside that house, give them a call, 256-503-4490. Let their talent go to work for you. It's Talkin Heating and Air. Give them a call. They serve Huntsville and surrounding areas. Thomas, Terry, Jeremy, they were kind enough to help us with our bracket challenge. It's the Talkin Heating and Air, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone Bracket Challenge. Do you still have a few hours, couple hours to get in on that? So make sure you head to our Facebook page, head to our app, click on the link to sign up, get your bracket in. We've got over $600 of prizes, and heck, we may just throw in some more. We may just start giving stuff away from the studio because we just feel like it. 256-576-4977. You can join the program for the next couple hours this morning. The action on the hardwood did resume last night with two more first four games. Intriguing games to say the least, because one of them probably cost one coach their job last night. And you knew coming in they were facing some heat, and that would be the Texas Longhorns and Rodney Terry. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But today, all around the country, there are people rejoicing because you could say that it is the greatest start to a 4-day run that we have in all of college sports, and that is 4 days pretty much of basketball. That's right. You get to hear that music. You remember before they started farming everything out to TNT, TBS, and True TV, the only way you could watch the NCAA tournament was on CBS. And they would do the whip around and they would show you some games, but they would give you that one game, but it would be on until midnight. And I can tell you this, CBS affiliates, oh my gosh, they hated it. They hated it so much. because you knew on Thursday night and Friday night, you may not start your newscast until midnight because there would be basketball on all night. Now they farm it out. And so not so much so because all the other networks pick it up and they carry it on till late. But your March Madness will get underway this morning. And I say this morning because at 11:15 on CBS in Lexington, Louisville, and Creighton, they will get things started there. Something to watch is Louisville's interior defense. James Scott, when he's not on the floor, watch how they play there. Louisville still ranks in the top 50 in adjusted offense and defense. The Cardinals are going to rely on Terrence Edwards and Chucky Hepburn. Those are some names you're going to hear a lot. And then at 11:40, High Point and Purdue, that'll be on True TV. That's your second one. And then on CBS at 1:50, the Auburn Tigers take on Alabama State. Yesterday, Bruce Pearl sitting in front of the media in Lexington talked about the overall number one seed, being the overall number one seed, and what they think about it now.
I think we have to come into this. We're not coming into this tournament. We're looking at the overall number one seed in the rearview mirror. We worked hard for that overall number one seed to survive the SEC this year as regular season champions, to look at the non-conference and having beaten Houston at Houston, having won the Maui Invitational, lost in a close game at Duke, our only loss in non-conference, and to have beaten Purdue and Ohio State on neutral courts. We earned that through the regular season. But that's in the past right now. And we're 6 wins away from achieving what our real goal is, and that is to try to win the national championship. We recognize that at any stop, including tomorrow, we could lose. We're going to do everything we possibly can to not.
That is Bruce Pearl. And Bruce yesterday made reference to the fact that the last time Auburn and Alabama State faced each other, and this is a rallying cry to his team, that Alabama State outscored Auburn in the second half of that contest and won the second half in Auburn. So that's something Bruce Pearl has beaten the drum on over the last 24 hours.
I mean, look, we all know what this is about. This is about last year. They lost to UConn. They played a terrible second half. Chad Baker-Rodman got thrown out of the game for a cheap shot. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what this is about. This is about what happened a year ago, and they're restarting their journey. They've worked hard, as Bruce Pearl said, to earn the number one overall seed, but they're focusing on atoning for what happened in the NCAA tournament a year ago and making a run. And so they look like they were in solid shape at halftime, even without Chad Baker-Rodman. And then he got thrown out of the game, I want to say in the first 10 minutes. I mean, if I remember correctly, watching the game, he got ejected, and Auburn was playing well at that time. And, at first glance, continued to lead the game and seemed to pick things up. But in the second half, we all saw what happened. Yale continued to grind and continued to take control of the game, made some huge threes. They shot the three really well against Auburn, and then they took the lead, I think, in the last 8 minutes of the game, and then it just turned into a back-and-forth, grinded-out contest, and Yale made the big plays down the stretch to win the game and knock Auburn out and really shock a lot of people because Auburn had come into the game playing really well. They were some people's dark horse Final Four pick because they had run through the SEC tournament and thumped everyone, including a Florida team that, ironically, Florida went to the finals a year ago and lost to Auburn and got a 7 seed because Florida was just under Todd Golden, was inconsistent last year, but it was starting to come into their own as a team. And a lot of people thought they were dangerous in March. And the ironic thing is, Florida went out in round 1 in the round of 64. So they both these teams that I think were the 2 best in the SEC by the end of the season. No disrespect to Tennessee, who knocked Auburn out in the SEC tournament, but I'm just going by Auburn's entire body of work over the regular season, which got them the SEC regular season title and this number 1 overall seed. And then what we saw Florida do in the SEC tournament, I think they're the 2 best teams out of the league. And so I think both of them, though, are kind of squaring their jaws, wanting to atone for a season ago when they went home way earlier than people thought. And this is the ironic thing. We haven't really talked about it, but if you look at Todd Golden, this is just year 3 for him at Florida, and what a remarkable job he's done. But starting this week, I certainly don't. I have them winning the national championship. I think Florida is playing as good as anybody in America, but this would be the first postseason wins outside the SEC tournament for Todd Golden with the Gators. His first year they lost in the NIT in the opening round, didn't play very well, didn't seem interested because like a lot of times, again, we saw it when we talked to Mike Parrish yesterday. Georgia Tech was sort of,
they're hot and cold when you get into that NIT a lot of times.
When you fall short of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And then last year, and it was, I think, very surprising, and it certainly messed my bracket up, but Florida and Auburn went home early, and now both of them are trying to atone for it, and both of them are picked by a lot of people to go to the Final Four in San Antonio, including myself.
I got to thinking about the NIT, and this is totally off topic,
right?
But it's almost like watching bowl games nowadays
when people opt out
and stuff. Half the time you get disheartened teams in these NIT games,
right?
They don't want to be there. Same way with some of these bowl games in college football. They don't want to be there. They play them because that's the game on the schedule and that's the bowl game and all the other stuff, but they don't give a crap. They don't want to be there. And speaking of not wanting to be there, Auburn will start at 150. At 2:15 on True TV, you get number 5 seed Clemson and number 12 seed McNeese.
Oh, well, I don't know about him not wanting to be there, but it's just,
he doesn't want to be. He's not there anymore.
Well, I mean,
he is there, but he's not
trying
there.
to do well for his team, man. Come on. Was I a little surprised that, his agent and others leaked that out before the game? Now,
in reference to Will Wade going to NC State.
Now, come on now. We got to call him Western Union. We know what he's called on this show. I know it's legal now, but he's called Western Union till the end of time. Western Union is going to Raleigh, North Carolina to be with Barney and Andy and everybody. And he's going to NC State. And so, we already talked about this on this show. I mean, he was considered the front runner for the job.
Yes.
I just thought maybe, or the earliest it might break might be halftime of maybe the game. Like all of a sudden,
there was
parties
rumors
are almost
last
done.
week,
and that's whether McNeese was going to pull the upset or whether Clemson was going to win. But I was just like, I would have thought the earliest they would leak it out was maybe the day or during the game. I didn't think they would do it beforehand. Because as we saw, with Darion DeVries. His situation was after West Virginia was left out of the NCAA tournament, and everybody, the governor got out there and threatened to sue, and he was mad and everything like that. So, but then they announced he was going to Indiana, and Indiana had already been left out of the tournament, and then they turned down the NIT. So,
now it's coming out that Indiana and DeVries actually had talked during the season.
Well, that
and the deal was already done.
Let's preface it what that really is. That's the agent situation. They've already had that done in principle. I'm not going to get mad at that because I don't think that affected West Virginia's team. I got enough, and I don't know DeVries, but what he did at Drake and then what he did at West Virginia with his son being hurt and their team being shorthanded and still nearly getting them to the tournament. I think he did them, right. I mean, we understand how these situations are. I was just a little surprised because McNeese State's a trendy 12 seed in this 12-5 game. We knew that, Will Wade was going to be a short timer no matter what at McNeese State. I mean, there was a lot of speculation last year when everybody thought Chris Beard might be going to Arkansas, which nearly did happen until Calipari realized that they have the pitchforks out in Lexington, and he bails. And so that because I'm just telling you, it was pretty much done that Chris Beard was going to Arkansas. Would have opened up Ole Miss. Maybe Western Union ends up at Ole Miss. Maybe Bucky McMillan. We don't know, but that's the way the dominoes sometimes fall. And then Western Union signs a contract extension for $700,000 a year and decides to stay at McNeese with the caveat that since he didn't go to Oklahoma State, Steve Lutz got that job. You're like, okay, he's going to stay one more year at McNeese. And if he has the kind of success, which he has, to get them back to the NCAA tournament, jobs are going to open up.
And they did.
And don't forget, NC State made that Cinderella run last year. Keats was thought to be fired before the ACC tournament. He wins the tournament. Then he goes to the Final Four. Then he gets a 2-year contract extension, only to be fired like 9 months later.
Yeah, because all the players into the tournament. Well, you mentioned Will Wade. You mentioned this was yesterday,
right?
During his press conference for McNeese State.
This is the reason why. I wouldn't have thought that they didn't have done it at this point. Yeah.
This was yesterday,
right?
Michael Swain from 24/7 Sports. I want to follow up on that. There's some rumors linking you to NC State specifically. Have you, your agent, anyone close to you spoken to NC State?
Yes.
We're here with people. There you go. I mean, yes.
Yes.
I mean, but see, I will say the Field of 68, Jeff Goodman, Rob Doster, John Fanta, the Terrence Oglesby, they got a cast of thousands over there.
Right.
They had already reported 2 days before that there had been discussions, and that's mostly agent stuff, but that they had been a sit down between McNeese State and NC State about the potential employment of Western Union, Will Wade, to go into Raleigh, and that there had already been discussions. I just thought that after that was reported, that things would simmer down until we saw the fate this weekend of McNeese. And then maybe 5 minutes after they lost, if they didn't make the Sweet 16, breaking news.
He's going. He's going.
He's not going on the plane back to McNeese, back to Louisiana. He's getting on a plane to Raleigh, North Carolina for a press conference and going to immediately start trying to pilfer his own team and probably some others to get guys in the transfer portal and go to NC State.
256-576-4977 is number to the phone line. 716 it is on a Thursday morning. I tell you what, let's get a first break in. When we come back, we'll go out to the phone lines. Plus, a former Bob Jones Patriot, Alabama Crimson Tide star, has a new job. We'll let you know where this one is landed and talk some more college hoops as it's the first full day.
A holiday.
Next 4 days are like holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a break in.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had one wreck in Decatur, Veterans and Brooks. No injury there, but there was some blockage. So they're working to get that one clear. Everything else looks great this morning. I don't see any other wrecks, stalls, or traffic signal problems. RESPECT is coming. Shoal Scholar Dollars is bringing the celebration of the music of Aretha Franklin to UNA on Monday, March 31st. Tickets at shoalscholardollars.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us. Smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed the musty smell in your home? I hope not, because damp smells mean that you could have a crawl space problem. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your crawl space and get to the root cause of the problem. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Once again, it is one of the greatest days today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. It doesn't matter. It's one of the greatest days because you're going to get to turn on the TV. You're going to sit in front of the TV and you're just going to watch basketball all day.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we get to wake up with pancakes and omelets.
Remember how we had that whole, 5-6 years ago, it was a huge story, the FBI investigation and
into Will Wade.
Will Wade was on, big ass offers. And
yes,
he was on a wire and
yes.
We got a lot of high school coaches that listen to this show, and I just got a great text from a good friend of mine. It's a high school coach. He said, "Well, one thing we know for sure is Will Wade's learned to tell the truth."
Because all he did was say yes and smile. Yes and smile.
He didn't say I took the job. It looks like if you talk to NC State. Yes.
It would have been better if he would have followed the yes up by saying, I got a big ass offer.
Well, that would have been funny. Would have got a lot of
that would have got a lot of laughs.
That would have been the quote of the day.
Yes.
It was a strong ass offer.
It was a strong ass offer.
We've had strong ass discussions.
That would have been the best if he would have said that. Well, if you follow that game up, number 10th seed Arkansas, 7th seed Kansas, 6-10 in the night session. The first game, one of the first games of the night session. And then 6th seed Missouri, 11th seed Drake. That's going to be a 6:35 tip tonight. Yep. St. John's, Omaha, 8:45 tip. St. John's. And this one here is good because Rick Pitino coaching in Providence, that's where that regional is. It's kind of fun for him to go back there where kind of really it all started to begin for him with the Providence Flyers back in the day.
You mean the Friars?
Flyers.
Well, they were flying, shooting up and down the court, shooting threes.
I had Dayton on my mind because it's the Dayton Flyers. I had Dayton on my mind.
And Dayton actually won their NIT game, by the way.
Because Dayton was the host and is the host because it is an unbelievable environment for the first four. Got to live that through Alabama A&M when they made their
one and one yesterday. You know, I got Mount St. Mary's took care of American and won that game impressively. And then
83-72.
And then for a half, Texas looked good. I thought Texas had a chance to win that game, but I should have known that in the end, coaching matters. And if the game got close, Sean Miller was going to outcoach Rodney the Fired. Well,
I did not realize how close Xavier was to Dayton.
Oh, as far as distance?
Yes. 56 miles away from the arena.
Very short bus trip there.
Very short bus trip for Xavier. Well, and it sounded like it in that play. I mean, that was.
It was. I mean, it was 47-39 at halftime. Texas played a really good first half, but, Sean Miller's group kept chopping. They shot the three really well. Down the stretch, Texas made a bunch of mental errors, blockouts, things of that nature, and took some bad shots and missed some free throws that really would have helped the cause. And they didn't carry the SEC banner too well. They dropped an 86-80 decision. And we'll see if Rodney Terry later today is dismissed.
I think he's gone.
Or if he survives. But I think
Chip Brown said last night that
after the game,
that without a run in the NCAA tournament, Rodney Terry won't be retained.
Well, and Jeff Goodman said the same thing. He said, I think he needs to win 1 to 2 games in the tournament, which meant winning last night and then even potentially pulling an upset in the round of 64 to get them, to the round of 32 to have a chance to go to the Sweet 16. Otherwise, he's going to be out of here.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, same way with Kevin Keats at NC State. NC State makes a run. They get to the Final Four.
Well, 3 years ago in Rodney Terry's first year when he took over for Chris
Beard, gets them to the Elite Eight.
He took over a team that Chris Beard had, I think, poised to maybe go to a Final Four under his leadership. But Rodney Terry took him to the Elite Eight once because there was a lot of speculation. Remember, Nate Oates' name kept coming up. But
Rodney Terry, that was his audition to be the head coach.
Yeah, Nate and the staff were like, no, we're not going to Texas. And then there was some coaches linked to the job. But as he continued to win, once he got to the Elite Eight, and then they lost, if I remember correctly, a very hard-fought regional final, it was going to be very tough not to retain him as head coach.
So we mentioned yesterday at the end of the show that Rodney Terry was someone that needed to make a run. There's probably a couple other coaches that are facing this similar fate, right, in the tournament. Do you see any other ones that potentially need to make a run to say we're going to stamp your approval for next year?
We'll see. I don't know that there's anybody like that because really, to be honest with you, Hubert Davis, they've already, made the move to bring in a general manager.
Right.
They've already decided that, some things that they're going to do. And North Carolina already won their game very impressively over San Diego State. So I don't think Hubert Davis is on any kind of hot seat here with North Carolina since they got in. I as far as Power 4 goes, I don't think so. I don't really think there's anybody that sticks out as, unless they go on a deep run, they're going to be in trouble. We'll see if there's some dominoes that move where guys leave current jobs and take a Power 4 job where it opens up some other situations as far as dominoes go. But I don't think anybody besides Rodney Terry was in trouble as far as SEC teams go. I think Porter Mosier was probably in that boat going into the last 2 weeks of the regular season until his team played well down the stretch and well enough to be a 9, which means they weren't really on the bubble. Okay, so and they're playing the 2-time defending national champion UConn Huskies, who some people believe Oklahoma. Our good friend David Sisk told me in Nashville he felt like the guard matchup was a bad one for UConn and that Jeremy Fears and those guys were going to give the Huskies all they wanted and potentially even knock out the 2-time defending national champ. So I don't really know that I think anybody's in trouble right now that's going in.
What about Porter Mosier in Oklahoma?
That's what I was just saying. I don't think so. I think Porter Mosier once they got in the tournament and got in as a 9, I think, the way they played down the stretch, and if they could potentially knock off a UConn in the round of 64, I think he's fine. But I don't anticipate him that, I think LSU had already said Matt McMahon was going to be back. They were going to up the ante with the NIL situation. If they were going to dismiss him, I think they would have already done it at the end of the regular season. Lamont Paris signed a huge extension last year and was in the top 4 seeds in the SEC, made a big run to nearly win the SEC regular season title. So I just don't, and basically did win that title. So I just don't think, I don't think he's in trouble at all. They would have already done something. So I think Rodney Terry of the SEC, coaches right now was the only one going into postseason that was on the hot seat. And certainly it's going to be scorching now that, they choked in the second half and didn't do very well.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Jeff from the Borough is with us. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
That's the best phone call we've had from Jeff in a while.
Does he have his phone on mute? Hello?
Oh.
Hello?
Oh, that was good.
Jeff?
That was riveting. Let's get in Richard real fast. Good morning, Richard.
What's up, Richard?
Hey, morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, I did see Porter Mosier's putting his name out like at Villanova in a few places, so he wants to leave.
Well, I mean, you've seen that situation before where, Jeremy Fears is probably going to the NBA. He probably isn't sure what his roster is going to look like. And if you can get out of town before the firing squad can get to you and restart somewhere, it'd probably be a good move. The name I had been hearing a lot with Villanova was Chris Collins, who's been, at Northwestern for over a decade and got them to the tournament a couple times. But as Scott will tell you, Northwestern is one of the hardest jobs in all of Division I basketball.
Oh, it is.
So
it is.
I've been to 8 or 10 games there, and I mean, it used to be before Collins. It would be like Vanderbilt football.
Yeah, I was just going to say
90% Michigan State fans or Indiana fans.
Yeah, it's similar that they're parallel to Vanderbilt in a lot of ways is Northwestern.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that Vanderbilt does have over Northwestern is that I think Memorial Coliseum is a much better place, and it's changed names now, but growing up as a kid, it was Welsh Ryan Arena. They're on the campus of Northwestern.
I think they redid it, but it still was a dump. I mean.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, because, I mean, I was in line to get a drink one day, and Mike Davis and the Indiana team walked behind. That's how much of a dump it is.
Wow.
In concession line. I said roll tide to Mike Davis as I'm standing in line.
No, I mean, it's because the teams, when they come off the floor, there was like an indoor track surface in the lobby. And the teams, when they come off the floor, Drew, they would come off and run right by you like the general public.
Yeah, like
there's no tunnel.
That's what Mike's saying. You're going to see them in the line in the concession.
Yeah, there's
stand.
no tunnel. There's nothing there.
Wow.
It's just, and they shared on the one side of it was the indoor practice facility for Northwestern.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, one thing on Alabama State, and I haven't seen like Drew's buddy that's retiring, Dennis Doofus, but I know in the past they've gone off on making the 16 teams play against each other on the the first 4, whatever you want to call it, play-in games. But just like you guys were talking about yesterday, Alabama State, if they wouldn't have played on Tuesday, they would get play today and get drilled by Auburn. Big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Where I mean, they were the top sports thing on Tuesday night, and Wednesday with a win, and like you, I think Scott, you said would they make $2 or $3 million
for the next 5 years or whatever because of the units that they get. They got a unit for playing in the first 4, and they're going to get another unit for playing against Auburn. So over the next 5 years, it comes out to like 2.3 or 2.2 million. Now I don't know where the SWAC does. I don't know. I mean. It's either going to go to Alabama State or it goes to the SWAC conference. I don't know where it's going to go, but the school has earned that 2 units.
Yeah.
I think usually you get a portion for your expenses, and then at a certain X amount, and then the rest goes to the conference usually. But I'm just saying, there's no every 16 team to me would want to play on the first inning. And two, the coach probably got a bonus on top of it. Where you play Auburn, you're going to lose, but you get a win in the NCAA tournament. I'm just for a 16 seed, you're going to get more recognition from that. You've had one, I guess, what is it, UMBC or whatever it was, beat Virginia, but I guess that's the only one, isn't it?
Yeah, and Ryan. Well, I think there's been since then. There's been one other 16 win. There's been
Purdue.
two.
Was it Purdue a one?
Yeah, yes. And Ryan Odom is now the coach of that UMBC team. Is now at VCU. So, and they could do some damage.
I just think having the 16s play, you basically they get recognition and they get on TV and they have a chance to win a game.
Yep.
But one thing, Scott, you were talking about the guy from West Virginia going. And this is just West Virginia sources, but they're saying he held his son out on purpose because he knew he was going to Indiana and redshirted him.
Yeah, that's what's coming out now is that, and the reason why is because there was a burner account. There was an Indiana burner account that 2 weeks ago said that DeVries was coming to Indiana and that the deal had already been done. And people thought it was a complete joke, but the guy was like, no, I know what I'm talking about. This deal is done. People started laughing at it, not paying attention to it. Then he gets the job, and now it's like, wait a minute, holy crap. Indiana actually negotiated this deal through agents and stuff in the middle of the season.
And like the day after it was sort of done, his son declares that he's going to sit out the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's getting a little more interesting there anyway. So,
All right, Richard.
See you guys later.
Thanks for the phone call, bud. Let's get a break in, shall we? Lenny Acuff's going to be on the other side of this. We got to talk basketball. He's in Milwaukee getting ready to take on Iowa State. Going to be with us next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Get ready because we're looking at an incredibly cold night across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, which is kind of ironic considering today is the first day of spring. Temperatures dropping into the lower 30s as we head into the overnight early into your Friday morning. The vast majority of us, if not all of us, probably going to drop below freezing for at least a couple of hours. A mostly to partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 50s and lower 60s. Will be a little bit warmer as we head into the early hours of Saturday morning. Temperatures drop into the lower 40s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
What we thought was a wreck in Decatur that occurred on the Hudson Memorial Bridge actually turns out to be a road rage incident. We got a wreck on the Arsenal, Martin Road and Mills. That one's coming in as an injury type. Everything else seems to be clear at this point. You be careful on your trip in. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Allison lost 100 pounds in 7 months on the plan. A free quiz will tell you if it can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed a musty smell in your home? I hope not, because damp smells mean that you could have a crawl space problem. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your crawl space and get to the root cause of the problem. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan? The right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankoffrankewing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank, as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at sensagreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We look at our weather right now, and I woke up this morning, walked outside, and was like, woo, it's a little brisk. 43 degrees here in the Tennessee Valley. Feels like 34 with the wind chill. But I don't know if that compares to what's going on in Milwaukee right now.
Well, from what we hear, it's snowing in Milwaukee, and but we certainly are focused on the game that's going to be on Friday. And it's going to be another afternoon tip. It's going to be 12:30 Central Time, and we've been waiting on this one. Everybody has. I think everyone in our community knew our next guest was going to get this program on the biggest stage in all of college basketball. I certainly am dressed head to toe in purple and black. I think everybody is excited about this contest between 3-seed Iowa State and 14-seed Lipscomb. The Lipscomb Bison are the ASUN champions, and in year 6, our next guest has got them to this platform, and no one is surprised because of the work he put in the Gulf South Conference with the UAH Chargers. Before that, Barry. He's done this at every stop in his journey, elevated programs and gotten them to compete at the highest level. He's doing it with Lipscomb, and of course, we're talking about Lenny Acuff, as he's been kind enough to join us this morning as his team is finishing preparation for that huge contest with 3-seed Iowa State. Coach, you're with Drew and Scott this morning. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm good, guys. How are y'all? Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. And we understand it's snowing, and of course that's not a surprise. Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, that wind is whipping and it is cold, but that's all good. I just told Joe, it's 70 degrees in this lobby, and it'll be 70 degrees in that gym when we go practice here in a little while. So we're all good.
Yes, sir.
Coach, talk about let's just kind of recap that ASUN championship game, and then the moment on Sunday when your team and you and everybody sitting there in Allen Arena, you getting to watch the selection show, and then hearing the name. You already knew you were going, but then when you hear your name called, that moment.
Yeah, we'll rewind a little bit and go to the ASUN championship game. I've really been blessed to be a part of a lot of fun games and, great atmospheres. And probably the closest game I've ever been in with that much on the line was the first year we went to the Elite Eight at Huntsville. I think that was 2010. I'm terrible with years. But it was Josh Majette and Jamie Smith and all those guys. Xavier Baldwin, Zane Campbell, Josh Yost, Sergeant Boscovich, Elliott Jones, Connor Blasey, all those guys. And hope I left anybody out. I'm sorry if I did. But that was a well of a team. And we beat Stillman. And I remember sitting in the locker room when they ran out for warm-ups, and I was like, the place was already packed. It was sold out. And that's the way it was in Allen Arena the other day. And a real credit to North Alabama. Boy, they traveled. We had almost 5,500 people in the building. Our place seats 5,000. And, it was standing room only, and there were people standing up top. And a lot of those were from Florence. And Tony's done a great job with their team. They played really well last night at Bradley. They gave Bradley everything they wanted in NIT. And it was a great game and a great environment, and we were fortunate. When you've been a part of so many games, there's just times you need a break, and it's a 2-point game, and like 2 minutes to go, and we shoot a three that hits around like 4 times and drops in, and I've been on the other end of that, and so it was a great game, great environment, really a special time for our team and our school. And then you fast forward to last Sunday, just to be there with our team and another thing that really made the previous Sunday so special, so many of my former players from Huntsville were there.
Yes.
And to be with them after the game and, they're crying, I'm crying. And, it's just, they're a part of this, and the only reason that I've had the opportunities I've had is because all the people that make so many sacrifices and, those guys that played, that I'm able to coach there and work with me, what they mean to me, I can't even express the words. And to see them and the fact that they would take the time to come up, and it was special. And then, when you hear your name called, it's really surreal. I mean, it's just hard to explain. We had a huge crowd in our building, and it's a big deal for our school. And so, but then 30 minutes later, it gets real, and you realize who you're playing. You put in the film, like, oh my goodness gracious, boy, we got a tiger by the tail here. So that's where we are. And but I'm very thankful, very grateful, but most importantly, just thankful for everyone that's helped make this possible.
Well, we're all very excited for you, and it was great to watch your team step up in a big situation like that. And it was a great crowd and an electric environment. And Jossie Powell had a really good game for you. And you've always told us, when I've talked basketball with you, Coach, that guards win in March. And, that Will Pruitt, who's such a junkyard dog, and Joe Anderson, those guys. And I know Ognjanovic has been one of the best players in the league, but those 3 guards for you really played well against UNA, and they're going to have to play well against Iowa State to give you a chance to win tomorrow.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Jossie got us to a great start from the 3-point line. Will Pruitt just does what Will Pruitt did. And North Alabama did a great job on Jacob. I mean, that's as tough as, I don't know, we had 10 or 12 points. That's as tough as a night as he's had in a long time. They were really physical with him and have a good plan. But little Joe Anderson, man, he stepped up. He was MVP of the tournament. And gosh, down the stretch, he was incredible. And he, in the tournament, I think he had 28, 25, and 23. And just really proud of him. And, I wish there was more to it, but just at this time of year, you just have to have guys step up and make plays. And, as you start getting into tomorrow, I mean, seriously, guys, now this deal with Iowa State, oh my goodness gracious, are they good? I watched them play. I remember watching them, one of the most times I get to watch basketball is during Thanksgiving week. I don't know if we played or we had a couple of days off, and I watched them against Auburn and Maui, and that was like a national championship game. I mean, you talk about 2 teams going at each other and grown men. And so, when we got done on Sunday night with the selection show, we got together as a staff and started watching them, and that they are real. The defensively, I tell you, Drew, you're so close to the guys at Huntsville High, Mount Brook, and all that. They play with a ton of conviction defensively, like those schools play. Like they really force the ball sideline, baseline, and they don't deviate. I mean, like they're going to come get you, and they're really difficult to score against. And, when you get in these games against the bigger schools, that's the hardest thing to do, is just to be able to score because they can outrun their mistakes. Your margin for error is so small. And so we've worked really hard this week in trying to prepare for that, but there's just no way to simulate that. No way. And so we'll need to survive that first 8-10 minutes to kind of get a handle on the game and try to get a feel for it. And but no matter what, we're here, and we're going to go practice in the arena in a little while, and it really has been a cool experience.
And that's the thing. A lot of this is it's about the experience, and there's a lot of teams, Coach, that even great teams only get one shot at this, and you have to kind of live in the moment, but not let the moment get too big, right?
Yeah, and when you do this, I'm sure I've shared this with you guys before. I think I left Tyler Hamback off in that last deal. I don't leave Tyler out. About that 2010 team. But I'm sitting here in my mind thinking,
I'm impressed. You rattled off the names fast, though. That was impressive.
Well, listen, I the thing I will say this after the game, we won on Sunday. Seriously, I think I had over 900 texts. And I have tried so hard to get back to everybody. I really have. But I know this won't shock you guys if you know much about me, is I'm not a technological wizard. And so somehow I can't find the last 50. So if I didn't text back, I'm really sorry. I'll try to do some point. But the thing that when you do this, you're just trying to make memories.
Yeah.
When all this is over, you want stories and you want memories. And I don't know how it's going to go tomorrow. I really have no idea. It's going to be very difficult. But I really believe this. If it doesn't go well, it's not going to be because the moment's too big. Like we have some really tough-minded kids. I mean, we start 4th, 5th-year seniors, and when you coach at this level, I mean, we've played a lot of different places. I mean, we played at Rupp, we played at Arkansas, we played at Notre Dame, we played at Louisville, we played at Michigan, and 3 or 4 of the kids on the team have been to those places. And obviously, it wasn't the NCAA tournament, but still, though, they've been in big environments, and they've been, we play in a lot of arenas, and you don't have that shock. But the thing you'd like to be able to do is the second game out. It's really cool being up here because Kentucky's here, North Carolina won last night, so they'll be here. The game after us tomorrow is Ole Miss and North Carolina, and so if you could get the game in the second half, maybe those people will get behind you. That's what you would hope for. And now Iowa State travels. I mean, guys, there are people everywhere here from Iowa State. I mean, they travel, but it's an opportunity for us to make memories. And if it doesn't go well, it's not going to be because the moment wasn't too big. I mean, they're better than us. And if they play, and we're going to need some breaks. You're going to need to make some tough shots, but we're looking forward to it. It's like I said, it's been special. And I know you guys probably talked about what these 4 days mean if you love college basketball. If you love sports,
yes.
I mean, it's
holiday.
I mean, guys, listen. I've watched so many basketball games all over Huntsville, Alabama, with so many good friends and had so many memories. And I mean, this is gold if you love college basketball, and to be a part of it is really a neat thing.
And Coach, as far as your preparation, I know they've talked about Keyshawn Gilbert being out for them. He's was a huge part of their team, averaging over 13 points per game. But the team's evolved. You talked about guys stepping up. How did that change your preparation, and how does it change Iowa State?
It changes our prep, none, Drew. I think that they are so talented. I mean, honestly, I don't know what's going on with that deal, but a lot of times when something like that happens, other guys, your chemistry gets better. They lost in the Big 12 tournament to BYU, and they didn't have a point guard 10, so he's going to be back. I mean, he's a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year. They have Jefferson James. They're huge. I mean, they're going to start 6'10", 6'9", 6'8", 6'7". And they're just so big and physical. And anytime you listen to their coach talk about, what they do and how they play, it's all about, we need more collisions. We need to be more disruptive. And so a part of that is we try to prepare for that, but it's very difficult. And I promise you, you better get 3 guys and when striped shirts tomorrow, they'll call a foul. If they let it just get really, really physical, our chances go way down. And that is a big deal. It is a big, big, big deal. And the other thing I hope is just, call it, if there's a foul in November, it needs to be a foul in March. And, I just think there needs to be consistency, but we have to embrace their physicality. I think, we'll have a good plan, and our guys, the one thing our guys will do is they'll compete, and I don't think they'll run from it. And so, but until the game gets going, you just can't have a feel for it. You just have to survive that first 8 to 10 minutes. You really do.
Lipscomb head coach Lenny Acuff joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. His Bisons will take on Iowa State tomorrow in opening round play of the NCAA tournament. Coach, I know you're focused on Iowa State. I know you're focused on a lot of things, but do you let yourself kind of soak in the moment at any point?
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, it was. I mean, it's so cool to share this with your family.
Yes.
My wife Kelly and Will's coming up today. Molly, who came up, and my son-in-law is coming up, and then it's just really cool. My mom and dad are with us. They were on
that's
the
awesome.
charter yesterday, and what a blessing that is. I mean, guys, I mean, a lot of people, they win a game or whatever, man, God is good and all this. But God's been so good to me no matter what happens. I mean, I'm blessed beyond belief. And it's a game. It's a game. And to be able to share that, though, with so many people. And, I mean, I've heard from so many people from Huntsville. And, Huntsville is our home. It's always going to be our home. And, I'm so thankful for just the chances I had to coach at UAH. I mean, but I'll tell you this, Scott. I mean, I know you've been a big part of UAH basketball. And, I promise you, when we went to 11 NCAA tournaments there, I remember the first one we got into, guys. I thought I like it'll never get this good, And I mean, just to be a part of that with me, it's just you're thrilled for the kids. I promise you, I'm no less excited, no more excited for these kids than I was the guys at Huntsville. And I hope they know that, and that's what you try to reiterate. I mean, I remember we went to the state tournament my junior year in high school, which a long time ago with Coach Petty, and to get to play in, that in the Memorial College. What's it called? I'm sorry, it's Coleman.
Coleman was Memorial then, yeah. That's right.
In '83. I mean, that's how old I am, guys. But just to play in the state tournament. Are you kidding me? And if you love basketball, just the blessings I've had. It's just I've been, I'm really blessed and very thankful. And, and I know I'm about to get off. I would say this too. Congratulations to Mick and all those guys at UAH this year. I mean, 32 games in a row. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, do you know how hard it is to do that? Well, I tell you how hard it is. It's never been done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never. And I hope no one thinks what happened the other night down at Nova in any way darkens what they do. I mean, that's the two best teams in the country. I watched the game, and I tell you, a lot less. And I texted him yesterday, and I told him, I said, a lot less team when they got down 17. 99.9% of the teams, that game is over. But because of what they're about, what this program is built on, they came back and gave themselves a chance. And then, selfishly, I was so proud of Montevallo, of Anthony Camara, who worked with me, and then my son Will. They got. I mean, how many coaches? We're going to play an NCAA tournament. My son got to coach in the Division II tournament, and they gave Florida Southern all they wanted. And to see guys that came from that program be successful. I mean, it's a neat thing. But congratulations to UAH, and really happy for those kids. And Tommy, Tommy Murr played for me for 3 years here. There's not a better kid on earth. And I texted him yesterday and told him how happy I was for him. And so, basketball's special in Huntsville, and and it's special to be a part of this event. And basketball is really important at Lipscomb, and I'll always be thankful that I've had the chance to coach here.
Well, and my favorite moment was after you beat UNA, seeing your family go down on the floor on the court, and the embrace you had with your father, because I know how big a moment it is to get to the NCAA tournament, and what a big stage it is. You did it on the Division II level, but to do it now, there's so much work and sacrifice that goes in it. It was a very, very, I thought, surreal moment between both of you. And my father played against your dad in the Boeing League, and competed in basketball, and he's known Swanee for a long time. And I know your family is very, very proud and we're very proud of you. And we certainly are looking forward to the challenge tomorrow, Coach. And we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. We treasure the friendship and the relationship, but we're all going to be rooting for the Bison, and good luck to you tomorrow, Coach.
Hey, thanks, guys. You're all the best. Hope you have a great day.
Thank
you, Coach.
Lenny Acuff there, Lipscomb Bison's head coach, kind enough to wake up with us in Milwaukee,
where it's snowing,
and his team is getting ready to face Iowa State. And I mean, look, I know when you look at your bracket, you're going to sit there and you're just going to pencil Iowa State in.
I have not.
But sentimentally, you got to put Lipscomb down to get the upset as a sentimental pick.
My biggest upset. I have them in the Sweet 16.
Now, I don't have them going that far. I got them winning. I mean, I had to go because, heck, I could not write Iowa State down.
Oh, I knew that. You don't like Iowa State, but I
had to put Lipscomb.
Iowa State is banged up.
It made it easier to write Lipscomb than anybody else.
Is not there. And
yes.
I'm hoping for 15 made threes and for Iowa State to be a little off, and then for the Bison to find a way.
Well, I'll just say this. The NCAA tournament, when you have a lower seed like this, it's fun because if somebody goes off, the rest of the country gets introduced to that individual.
They get really excited.
And Joe Anderson could be that guy. The little point guard for Lipscomb could be that guy. All right, thanks. That was good. Hour 1 is done. Hour 2 is going to come up next. We just kind of blew through that break. We
did the Ryan Fowler. I call that the Ryan Fowler. You just blow through a break.
Yeah, we can't.
Or Steve Moulton, because we did that some last week.
Yeah, I know. We got bills to pay, though.
Yeah.
Hour 2 is coming up next.
I had Lipscomb beating Ole Miss in the round of 32 as well.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This action update is brought to you by GBank. Earn cashback rewards on every eligible gaming transaction. VSiN.com/GBank.
Men's college hoops last night. Number 1 Tennessee improved to 11-0 with an 84-36 win over Western Carolina. Number 2 Auburn blew out Georgia State 100-59. Number 5 Duke over George Mason 68-47. Number 7 Florida beat North Carolina 90-84. Number 17 Ole Miss with a 74-61 win over Southern. Number 18 UCLA beat Prairie View A&M 111-75. Number 20 Michigan State over Oakland 77-68. Number 25 Dayton beat UNLV 66-65. In overtime, South Carolina over number 25 Clemson 91-88. Auburn and Duke now the co-favorites to win the national title at plus 825. Tennessee plus 1100. Connecticut plus 1500. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Okay, Sportsmen Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. You know what? They're dedicated to providing care that improves lives. They're also helping us kick off hour number 2 here of Talking Ball. 256-881-5151. If you want to experience that SportsMed difference, just go ahead, pick up the phone, give them a call. They can help you out. And I tell you what, just ask for Dr. Thomas Ricks.
Yeah.
I mean, ask for a bunch of them, but we like Dr. Ricks. Give them a call, 256-881-5151, Sportsmen Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. Tennessee Volunteers, I tell you what, I looked at it a little bit ago, right? And they're up to $3.
Oh boy, you were talking about this yesterday.
It's up to $3. No, it's up to $4. They're going up. Prices are going up if you want to see Tennessee play in Lexington today. But the Vols will start their run. They start that tournament run today in Lexington as it's Tennessee and Wofford there inside Rupp Arena.
Well, who was the first, person that I saw, sans the Brett Beard, my traveling partner, when we got to Bridgestone Arena this past Friday, as we decided to partake, and you would have been proud of us. The first thing we did was go to media dining and take and
it's the only place you're supposed to go.
We didn't go out on the floor quite yet. We just watched the second half of the Auburn Ole Miss game from the media dining. But the first person I run into is our next guest. He just got through with his daily show with John Wilkerson, of course, the voice of Vol Baseball. And this is Sports Talk, and they're on from 6 to 9 Eastern time. And, of course, that's 5 to 8 Central here in the state of Alabama. And it is the big part of the sports animal 99.1 in Knoxville, Tennessee, Vince Ferrari. But he is on location with Vol Hoops. He's already sent us or posted a picture on his X account of the media room where they have the huge brackets ready to go, the kind that you've seen the President of the United States fill out his bracket. And that is Vince Ferrari. Vince, good morning. Happy March Madness.
Good morning. Happy March Madness to you guys too. It is these 4 days. I'll include the weekend too, because there's still wall-to-wall basketball. There's just 2 games at the same time instead of 4 in each window. But these 4 days are as good as it gets on the sports calendar. It is awesome and interesting. Just a little interesting note. We'll always look for the first game of the Thursday, the first big day. It's from right here in Lexington. It's 8 Louisville, 9 Creighton. So we got the early part, the first tip in each of the different windows from right here in Lexington. So pretty cool that we're getting things started here in the Bluegrass State with a lot of enemies here. Tennessee is here. Louisville is here. Auburn and Bruce Pearl, who won in Rupp for the first time forever, they're here. So yeah, it's quite the collection of teams here.
Yeah, it was quite the moment yesterday when Tennessee. So when teams take to the floor for their practice, they play the school fight song.
Oh boy!
And so it was a kind of a weird moment yesterday inside Rupp Arena. Tennessee's fight song blaring over the speakers inside Rupp Arena.
Yeah. I guess I didn't connect it at the time and people reacted to it later. And I'm like, yeah, that is weird. When you hear it and you watch them practice, it is normal.
Yes.
But then you think about where you're at. And yeah, it's crazy. I took an elevator to get to the floor, and I went with a big UT fan, a Kentucky fan that was working there, one of the ushers. And he's like, "Where are you from?" Cover the balls, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, there's an interesting group of teams here. I'll be rooting for you guys. Anyone but Louisville and Duke." So, actually admitted that he would root for Tennessee because it can't be Louisville, that's for sure.
Well, then he loved my shirt. I've got a T-shirt that says that I bought 5 or 6 years ago. It says I still love Layton, or he would hate me then. But anyway,
anybody but Louisville and Duke.
Well, they're just never going to get over the Duke game.
Yeah.
But I will say, how surreal is it, Vince, though, to know you're playing in Rupp Arena and Kentucky is not?
Yeah. It is crazy. And they could meet Kentucky.
Yeah, in the Sweet 16. I've got that happening, by the way.
It just won't be here. Although they're going to bring a lot of fans to Indianapolis.
Oh,
that's a hop, skip, and a jump.
No question about that. Well, and then your thoughts on the Tennessee's draw. I like the draw. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. I've had people like, really, they're going there. I had them in the Elite Eight last year. That's where they got. I know the big story for Rick Barnes is he's only been to one Final Four, TJ Ford in Texas, and Tennessee's never been. I really love this draw for the Vols, though. I've got them beating Houston and going to the Final Four events.
I like the draw, too. That's, to me, the biggest challenge is Houston, as you would expect. A similar style of play, and Houston has adjusted to the Big 12. You know, they were dominating the AAC. They moved to the Big 12, and they're doing the same thing. So, you know, Kelvin Sampson can coach. I know he hasn't always, gotten the results that he's wanted for all the regular season wins, but they're a very similar team to Tennessee. So that would be a whole lot of fun to watch. But I like their draw too. You know, UCLA and Utah State would be a potential round of 32 matchup. You know, those two teams have had their moments. Utah State hadn't had the level of competition, but they can really shoot the basketball at 49% from the floor. And then UCLA, they've been crazy, like up and down. They had a 4-game losing streak in January, then won 7 straight, and since they've been 4-4. So who knows what you're going to get from them? But watching them at the open practices, I stayed in and watched almost all the teams. So it was really cool to just see a different perspective from them. UCLA, very athletic. Utah State, as you would expect, fundamental backdoor cuts, and can shoot. And then same with Wofford, very similar style, not big. And then Tennessee looked very comfortable. Chazanier shot it well in the shoot around. But I like this group of 4 for Tennessee in their path to the Sweet 16. Kentucky, everybody's talking about they're not healthy. What about Butler at point guard? Kentucky was missing multiple players the first time, and at least one player the second time, and they still beat Tennessee twice this year. So I don't know if that's something in their head or neutral court might be a little bit different, but Kentucky would still be a threat for sure. But they've beaten Illinois. Everyone else you look at, Purdue is not the same. I know they've beaten with and without Zach Edey. They've beaten Tennessee in the tournament, but I don't think that's something they can't get over. And then, I think Houston's the biggest threat at the top. So I do like that draw, and there could be tougher 15s, I think, out there for Tennessee also. So, you just never know how it plays out, but based on who they've got, I do like that Midwest 2 seed for them.
And the style that Tennessee plays, I think, is very tough to prepare for on a short term. And I know sometimes, Tennessee has games, and they've had during the regular season where they come out and they just don't do things the right way. Bruce Pearl was very, very complimentary of the style and how hard it was and how hard it is to prepare for Tennessee, especially after the loss in the SEC tournament. I think that style can carry very well in this side of the bracket.
Scott, the thing that numerous coaches have talked about and what he's alluding to and why they're difficult to prepare for is you can't duplicate the physicality. Nate Oates has talked about that in the past when Tennessee's beaten Alabama. And when you don't see Tennessee, you think about their physicality, but you really don't. And even Dwight Perry, Wofford's third-year head coach, who, by the way, is a former Kentucky Wildcat, so he's coming home also. But he said a lot of times it looks like there's like 6 or 7 of them on the court because of the way they defend. So, try doing that and seeing if you can do it. And even if you do try a 7-man defense, it doesn't mean you have the elite individual defenders like Jemai Meshack and Zakai Ziegler. Meshack was amazing against Trey Johnson from Texas in the SEC tournament. So I do agree. I think that's very, very much an advantage for Tennessee. The one thing, though, is if Tennessee is slow out of the gate, we've seen some slower first halves. Zakai Ziegler's had much better second halves than first halves. Sometimes Chazanier is red hot in the first half, and if he's not, sometimes Tennessee's slow offensively out of the gate. You don't want to give the underdog, the huge underdog, that window of opportunity to build their confidence and stay in a game, because not only are they going to feel better, especially if they have some shots and some three-pointers falling, but then guess what happens to the building? If you don't have allegiance to Tennessee and people are neutral or they're wearing blue and they're local, guess who they're rooting for? They're going to jump on the bandwagon of the underdog and hoping to bust some brackets. So you want to eliminate that hope quickly. And I think a fast start would really help Tennessee a long way towards comfortably getting through this game, not exerting too much energy for a potential second-round matchup.
Well, we know Lanier and Zakai, especially Zakai Ziegler's the engine. They're very, very important. But down the stretch, though, Jordan Gainey's been really good. I thought he was really good in Nashville. And I think his production, because guard play is really what wins. And I think the guards make this Tennessee team go. But if Gainey and Meshack are playing well, along with Ziegler, certainly, and Lanier, that's going to make Tennessee tough to beat.
Gainey has been unbelievable. I mean, he was worthy of the all SEC tournament recognition that he and Zakai Ziegler got. And what he's doing is he's improved as a defender, but his decision making helps them too because he is aggressive. He has a kill the opponent type of mentality, very aggressive, very confident, and he should because he can score on all levels. And he's one where in that Florida game, he tried to keep them in that game. Tennessee had, I think it was Milicic that early on had a shot blocked at the rim by the 73 quality bigs that Florida has. And then Tennessee was hesitant to drive all the way to the rim and try to score for a good stretch of the game. Well, it was Gainey that started going downhill towards the rim and finishing there and making plays and getting fouled. So a lot of times when since Tennessee's not an elite shooter, they need to drive and they need paint touches. They need mid-range shots. Those are the kind of things that free them up from three and open the court up for them. And Gainey a lot of times is the initiator of that. He's their best driver. And so really like his all-around game. He's playing at a very high level. And actually one of his former teammates at USC Upstate, where he transferred to Tennessee from, Justin Bailey, is on the Wofford team. So those two are very close. He called them brothers. So another player connection between the two.
And in your mind, I know Wofford kind of came out of nowhere to win the SoCon. They got really hot and won the tournament. What does is it just paramount on the start? You mentioned that Tennessee needs to get off to. What must they do to put Wofford away early and then focus on the winner of UCLA and Utah State?
Yeah, I think the big thing is shot making with this team. When they're making shots as well as they defend, the pressure they put on you, it makes them complete, and it raises what their ceiling can be when they make shots. And you want to see them. And another big thing, you want to see them rebound. They were out rebounded by Florida several times late in the year. Even in some wins, they were out rebounded. That was not the case against Auburn. They were fantastic on the boards and out rebounding the Tigers and winning in Nashville. So that's really the big thing. When you ask Barnes about what the biggest emphasis is the rebounding. Actually, Wofford's rebounding numbers slightly better than Tennessee. Different level of competition, obviously. But Wofford, they play 8 players like Tennessee does, but they spread their minutes out with their players too. So they're going to keep coming at you. Everybody out of those 8 plays between 18 and 29 minutes. So they're not rolling, with the same 5. Where Tennessee, they have their starters play more. So I think Tennessee is going to need to rebound, and they're going to need their bench guys to contribute and not rely too much on the minutes of.
Go ahead, Vince.
Like Ziegler and Lanier play a lot of minutes. You don't want, this is not the kind of game where you want to, start out with Ziegler playing 39 minutes. You got to stay out of foul trouble, and they need their bench guys to play well.
Wow. And then as far as the second round, real fast, Mick Cronin's had a lot of success in the tournament. We remember what he did getting his team from the first 4 to the final 4 and nearly playing for a national championship. Secretly, is everyone hoping Jared Calhoun, Utah State, can pull an upset, or is there any worry with UCLA as far as the matchup goes because the styles are similar?
Yeah, and UCLA plays, very funky defense, very different. So that will be something to prepare for. They may even start it a little bit. I'm sure the coaches have worked on them a little bit. Everybody has a different scout out of the other 3 teams, but UCLA mentioned how streaky they are. They've got some quality wins, man. They beat Oregon a couple of times, Gonzaga, Wisconsin, Michigan State. They have some head-scratching losses also. But the interesting thing about UCLA, not only the brand that's there, but remember that's the school that Rick Barnes had considered going to. Yeah. And so that's the interesting storyline from them. Utah State is the first program that in 3 consecutive years has made the NCAA tournament with interim coaches.
Wow.
They have an interim coach again for the third consecutive year, and here they are back in the NCAA tournament. So that's kind of crazy. And 3 of their last 9 games are against Colorado State. So they're happy to see someone other than the Rams who are also in the NCAA tournament.
Well, it's going to be a great one. 5:50 or so tonight, Central Time, over in Lexington. 6:50 will be Eastern. Will be the tip, and the Tennessee Vols will take the floor against the Wofford Terriers. I know you're going to have full coverage. Let everybody know how to follow you, Vince.
Yeah, appreciate it. And by the way, Utah State was the second team with 3 straight interim coaches. I guess it had been done once before. But yeah, you can follow me on all the socials, Vince Sports, VINCE Sports on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook. You can see videos. Shoot around yesterday was cool to watch everybody in their window. I love that kind of stuff for us basketball junkies. And then you can get podcasts at 991dsportsanimal.com.
Thanks, Vince.
All right, thanks, guys. Enjoy the hoops.
All right, Vince Ferrara, kind enough to join us. Let's get a break in. More talking ball on the flip side. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And an HPD unit involved in a wreck on Moores Mill north of Winchester. That one should be getting close to wrapping up. It had one on the Arsenal, Martin Road, and Mills Road that reported with an injury, but they ended up canceling HIMSI on it. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
I'm here with Vice President of Mortgage from Bank of Frank Ewing, John Kendall. And John, if you're hearing this commercial right now and you're thinking of getting a new house, boy, oh boy, do you guys have a deal.
We do. It's a grant. $25,000 if you're a veteran, $20,000 if you're not a veteran. This can be used for closing costs, down payment.
Very simple. All you have to do is give Bank of Frank Ewing a call at
256-507-9180.
And how long does this process take?
Oh, it'll take just a few minutes, maybe 15, 30 minutes on the phone. We'll send you a link and you fill that out in your own time. We'll approve you.
Who would not want $25,000 for a new house? John Kendall, give them the phone number and online address one more time.
256-507-9180 or at bankoffrankewing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing giving you $25,000 for a new house. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDIC insured bank as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
We are your home for March Madness.
In the corner, James, right corner three. Oh, it's a Tennessee blitz. The Volunteers dominating the Creighton Blue Jays in the second half.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
That's the price you pay.
Oh.
Well, Rodney Terry's going to pay the price.
Yeah, well, we knew that was coming. I mean, it was.
And here's the ironic part: that the coach that whipped him could be the top candidate. We'll see what happens with Sean Miller.
Yeah. Look, do you think Texas? I know it was getting stale,
right,
with Rick Barnes.
They made a.
But do you
mistake.
think they regret moving on from Rick Barnes?
They should. That was stupid. He made 16 out of 17 NCAA tournaments.
And you look what he's done at Tennessee.
Right. In 10 years.
In 10 years, you look at what he's done there.
Even though I will
and you
say,
look at what Texas has done since.
They haven't made the Final Four. Rick made it with TJ Ford. He had Kevin Durant. He recruited very well.
But at the same time, too, Texas is going to say, well, he hasn't done it with Tennessee.
Well, he's made the Elite Eight, though, and he's made Tennessee into a power in the Southeastern Conference, and certainly more consistent than the Longhorns. Now,
right.
I think the Longhorns had hit a home run with Chris Beard, but we all know how that ended, and that's kind of out of everyone's control. They were kind of forced there to have to make a move, and that they didn't really want to make. And Beard had already built the program, I think, into one that was on the verge of making a Final Four run. But that's not going to happen. And now you got to go back to the drawing board. I didn't think Rodney Terry would probably work out long term. He made an Elite Eight run with a team that he helped Chris Beard build. But I just thought it's different when you move over another chair. I just don't think Rodney Terry is a high-level head coach. I think he's a recruiter. And so we'll see what happens. I do think Sean Miller's a hell of a coach. Now, this is his second tour with Xavier. We know how things ended at Arizona, but he had some great teams at Arizona, though he never went to the Final Four with the Wildcats. So it's going to be really interesting. The Texas job is kind of polarizing. It is. They have a lot of money, but they don't have what you would consider an A-list history in basketball.
Well, they get into their own way a lot.
In everything.
When you have a lot of money, that means you have a lot of people that think that they have a say in how everything goes.
Think about the baseball situation last year. What an unbelievable thing that was. You go to the Auburn of Texas, and you take Texas A&M's coach to come to the Longhorns after Texas A&M nearly won the national championship, and you go poach him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but Texas has got money. They got Sark. They hired Sark from Alabama. So far, that's worked well. They've made two playoffs.
He basically said, "Leave me alone."
Yeah, and I
mean, let me do what I have to do. You guys stay in your own corner, stay in your own lane.
Now they're going to be like the Beatles. They're going to have a Manning, at quarterback. So they're going to be. I've already been hearing Tim Tebow-esque stories of how the media attention is going to be because, again, as you know, Arch got a chance to start some games last year when Ewers got hurt.
Right.
And now this time he's going to be the full-time starter. So the first time he completes a pass, they're going to give him the Heisman Trophy. But, I mean, still, I have said Mannings are bust-proof, and so it's going to be really interesting to see if Sark ever wins the national championship, he'll have a job for 20 years. They'll never do anything if they can finally win an SEC and then a national championship. If they do that, you'll never be able to shut these maggots up from Austin. I mean, it was bad enough going over there to Dallas, deep in the heart of Overray. If they ever actually win it, they're going to be insufferable jackasses.
The only thing that would make life good is if SEC media days would be moved to Knoxville. That's the only way life would be.
I don't know if I could go. I might just have to Zoom every show. Or if I did, I'd have to wear a hard hat.
Yesterday, Alabama Pro Day, Jalen Milroe, lightning
couldn't even
fast.
run a straight line in a friggin' 40. When Daniel Jeremiah puts weave beside it, that means he didn't run a straight friggin' line. So I'm not sure he ran a 4.37.
Here is Milroe.
All I do is reflect and think about when I first touched campus and being able to opportunity to watch Mac Jones throw, watch Bryce go through this process, and now to be able to fulfill that and place my shoes here, it's I think it's a blessing. It's truly a blessing. I see it as a great opportunity. I'm just excited for what's to come, but I don't take it lightly being able to go through this process, being able to be here in fellowship and being around a lot of great coaches along this process. And so now it's the next step in the journey and one step completed.
Well, we'll see. I mean, looked like Tyler Booker improved his shuttle time yesterday. He shaved some time off that. He's fallen out of some of the first-round mock drafts that, I love so much. I still think he's a first-round talent. If you get him in the second round, I think you got a guy who will be a 10-year starter. I still thought, while he may not have been as dominant as people hoped, I thought he still had a really solid year. I still think, the guy you just heard talking was the biggest issue offensively because he couldn't execute the plan consistently, but he has tremendous physical tools.
Right.
He threw well against Air yesterday. You knew he was going to do that. You knew Air wouldn't intercept it. So, and then he had dinner with the Steelers and the Steelers.
Ate a lot of sushi, he said.
They seem interested. I've heard they're also interested in Quinn Ewers. So
yeah.
I think what the Steelers want to do, they want to draft a quarterback that they can groom, probably sign a guy like, Aaron Rodgers to maybe be a bridge guy for a couple of years and then get someone ready. We'll see if that's Jalen Milroe. I think also it looked like Mike Tomlin was taking, an interest in a couple of the other Alabama guys that were working out yesterday, including Q Robinson, who we know got hurt, at the end of last year. Robinson's a really good pass rusher, so we'll see. But a lot of Steelers brass were at that pro day, so they're definitely interested in some of those guys from Alabama.
A lot of talk has been made about spring games, teams not wanting spring games. I hope this works. Mike Elko was talking about –
Oh, by the way, Mike Elko already got rid of that 5-star overrated Micah Hudson. That's another one that probably took a lot of NIL money and so far can't play dead in a B Western.
Here's Mike Elko on when Texas A&M might not have a spring game.
There's two different elements of this. There's
not going to work because it's only on one channel.
Well, I could hear something in my ear.
You can hear it in your ear, but it's not going to go over the radio because it's
okay.
only on one channel. So
Right.
I was hoping what they sent me would be on two, but it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, in summary, he said that they will continue to have a spring game until they make it to the semifinals. So
what?
He said they're going to continue to have a spring game until they make it to the semifinals, and then we'll rediscover what our offseason looks like.
So he's saying he if they're good enough to make the semifinals, then they're going to hide their roster.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that basically what he said?
Yeah. No, he said, and I quote, "We will continue to have a spring game until we make it to the semifinals, and then we'll rediscover what our offseason looks like," end quote.
Let's just go to break. We got Brian Passett coming on. This stuff doesn't make any damn sense.
Oh, we'll talk what makes sense coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Going to be chilly across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures only going to hang out in the mid and upper 40s at the same time. We're also talking about a couple of scattered showers across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. From there, we're going to be rather cold as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. Temperatures have no problems, climbing into the lower 30s. Most of us going to drop below freezing for at least a couple of hours Thursday night, early Friday morning. A mostly to partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 50s and lower 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Had an HPD unit involved in a wreck on Moores Mill north of Winchester. That one should be getting close to wrapping up. It had one on the Arsenal, Martin Road, and Mills Road that reported with an injury, but they ended up canceling HIMSI on it. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Atlanta Braves spring training is on from Florida, and this 2025 Brave squad is ready to get after it in Northport.
And he waylays this thing way downtown. Swung on a fly ball, deep left center field, heading towards the gap. That is down for a base hit. Acuna hits the bag at third. Here he comes. Michael Harris taking no prisoners. It's a sweep.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm here to tell you it's truck month. No payments for 90 days on 24 and 25 models of F-150, Ranger, Maverick, Super Duty, and Lightning. We've got over 220 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Great deals on Bronco, Bronco Sport, Expedition, and Explorer 2. Come check those out. But right now at Woody Anderson Ford, you can drive a 2024 F-150 XLT Hybrid for as little as $339 a month. $339 for an F-150. That's a 36-month lease with 6448 due at signing, zero security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends 3/31/25. Call us at 539-9441 for complete details. Over 220 F-150s and nearly 50 Rangers and Maverick pickups to choose from, all with great sales incentives and zero payments for 90 days. Woody Anderson Ford, we hope to see you soon.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that.
I'd go numb if I had to go to Knoxville.
That is the question of the day. Would you attend SEC Media Days if it was in Knoxville? And I mean you, not the listener, Drew DeArmond. If SEC Media Days was attended in Knoxville, would you attend?
Well,
and the answer so far is no.
I'd probably have to join via Zoom. You know, I don't know if I could handle 4 or 5 days of that.
But you went up there for a high school basketball event.
Well, no, I went up there for Alabama and Tennessee in 2014, and I did go to this year to Knox Webb, but we didn't go on the campus of the University of Tennessee.
Okay.
So we were at the Webb School, and Huntsville High played well. So I have been to the city. And so it was.
You would seriously question about going for SEC Media Days.
But for SEC Media Days, that would be kind of tough when you're having to go there for a week. But our next guest certainly is going to Cleveland. He's in Cleveland, Ohio. And the University of Alabama will be playing tomorrow. We'll have the call at 11:40 a.m. It will be a lunchtime tip as the Crimson Tide are trying to go to back-to-back Final Fours and make another deep run into the NCAA tournament in Nate Oates' sixth season. Our next guest has been along the ride for every year of the Nate Oates era and, of course, experienced the Final Four in Phoenix. He's hoping to be in San Antonio, and he's going to be on the call for Alabama and Robert Morris tomorrow. And, of course, we're talking about Brian Pasek. Brian, how you doing? Is it snowing in Cleveland?
No, it's actually been pretty nice, although I haven't been outside today. It's a little rainy, but got in yesterday. It was 70 degrees and wow. Can't beat it.
70 degrees in the land. Wow. I mean, well, Brian, we had Lenny Acuff on from Lipscomb, who we were very close to, and it is snowing and the weather is not good in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal, and I think anybody would agree with this. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're in the dance. That's all that matters.
Yep.
And you got to have some good TVs around you, so you could watch games before and after yours. So I've got all that, and my team's back in March Madness, and I'm happy about it.
No doubt. We're happy as well.
What's the mood surrounding this Alabama team on the eve of their tournament opener?
Well, I think they're excited. I mean, listen, this is what you live for as a college basketball player, as a coach, as someone, whether you're a fan. I mean, this is if you're a college basketball fan or a sports fan, you got to be excited about this time of year. And these guys are no different. I mean, every one of these players grew up dreaming about playing in this tournament and having a chance to go to a Final Four and compete for a national championship. And several of the guys that are back have gotten a taste of that and know how incredible it is to go on a run like they have in the past year and have a chance to do that again. But right now, the focus is Robert Morris and not San Antonio just yet. It's about staying in Cleveland for a couple more days.
Well, and I know you've been studying Robert Morris. They're the champions of the Horizon League. That's a very good mid-major conference. Interesting that their leading scorer is Cam Woods, who everyone in this state is very familiar with his time for Darryl Barber at midfield as a state champion, and then at Pinson Valley winning a championship as well. He averages 15, 5 assists nearly, and nearly 2 steals. So he basically drives the engine for them. And I know they have a big inside, 14 points, nearly 10 rebounds per game, a Spaniard. Personnel-wise, as you've kind of looked at them, how do they match up? How does this look for the University of Alabama going into the game tomorrow?
Well, I mean, Alabama's the heavy favorite, and they should be with what this team has done. And one of the top teams in the SEC, I mean, should beat a Horizon team. And you look at Robert Morris, I mean, obviously they haven't played near the schedule of Alabama, but they've got one of the nation's longest winning streaks. I think 5 or 6 in games won in a row. So they're a team that's won championships and accustomed to winning. And listen, one of the reasons we love this time of year in March Madness isn't because all the favorites win. It's because there are upsets in this tournament and there are heavy favorites that go down. And I hope that the heavy favorites in Cleveland win tomorrow. But listen, you never know what's going to happen. And it's why they call it madness. And it's why this tournament's exciting. But I expect that Alabama will be ready to play. I don't think they're going to overlook anybody. I mean, we've never seen that before under Nate Oates. But sometimes teams like Robert Morris that get on a roll and get hot and start believing in themselves, they'll have more of the home court advantage, one, because you know how it is. You get in the NCAA tournament site and all of a sudden the 15 is playing well and everybody that is not for the team that they're playing all of a sudden starts rooting for them. And then the other part of this is Robert Morris is about an hour and a half away. Their campus is in Pittsburgh, which is less than 2 hours away. So everybody affiliated with that program will be in Cleveland. Now, Alabama's going to have a lot of fans as well, but this is it's always tricky. You're in the NCAA tournament. We've seen teams beat 2s. Now we see 6 teams beating 1s. So it's it's nothing you could ever take for granted. But Alabama has their size, athleticism, talent advantage over Robert Morris. I think everybody would agree with that. But you just never know this time of year.
One of the things that Robert Morris does very well, though, and Alabama does too. Alabama is one of the top 10 teams in the country in getting to the free throw line. But right behind them is Robert Morris. Robert Morris is very good at getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, they are. And Alabama's got to be disciplined on the defensive end and play really hard and smart and do it without fouling. And, Alabama is a team that is one of the best 2-point percentage teams going to the offensive end in the country. And one of the things that Robert Morris does really well is they block shots. And rim protection is a strength of theirs. And finishing at the rim is a strength of Alabama's. And so that's something to watch as well. This is not one of Nate Oates' best 3-point percentage shooting teams. Now, they make a lot because they take a lot. We know the recipe for success under Nate Oates, and that is at the rim twos and open threes and getting to the free throw line. So those things are going to be important. But when I look at the strength of Robert Morris on the defensive end, they've got to feel good about their rim protection. They don't play teams that has the size and athleticism of Alabama, but the reason they're in this tournament, the reason they're in this game and they won the Horizon League, a big part of that is their ability to block shots and protect the rim.
And Brian, we all know how important Grant Nelson is to Alabama basketball. He certainly played a huge role in reaching their first ever Final Four a year ago. And then down the stretch, as March has come around again, he's been playing his best, I thought, basketball of the season. He was playing very well before he was injured in the Florida game. I think Alabama had a 1 to 2 point lead when he went out. People kind of forget that. But now his availability, the best way to put it, is unknown. It sounds like he got a good medical report. What does your gut tell you about Nate Oates and the coaching staff and how they're going to approach the availability of Grant Nelson in this game against Robert Morris, and then heading into a potential matchup Sunday with either St. Mary's or Vanderbilt?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I don't know the answer to it. My gut tells me that he may be held out unless he's has 100% ready to go. That's what my gut tells me. I think there is a sense of relief that it's not nearly as serious as maybe some feared. So he should be able to play. I would think be available to play tomorrow. And I don't know that. I'm just speculating. Right. But the question is, and it's really risky either way. Do you decide as a coaching staff to hold him out and make sure he's 100% rested, ready to roll on Sunday in a game that, at least on paper, is a lot more difficult, or let him play on Friday? Now, it's easy as a fan to say, well, just hold him out. Well, you got to make sure you win the game.
Yes.
And that's risky. And playing him a little bit risky, holding him out is a little bit risky. So listen, Nate Oates and his medical staff will make that decision along with Grant Nelson. And I hope he's ready to go, whether it's Friday, and hopefully there is a Sunday game. But I do know that there's optimism around the seriousness of that injury. And then look at Duke. Cooper Flagg has been out, and I think everybody around the country is, well, just hold him out. It's a 16 versus 1. Hold him out in the first game. And that is, I don't know, that's easy to say. But there's two reasons that you play a guy like Cooper Flagg or Grant Nelson in that first round game is one, you want to get their feet wet in the NCAA tournament. I mean, you don't really have a practice between the first round game and the second round game. You have a little bit of a walkthrough of the day between, and you want to be ready to go, but you want to be healthy. So coaches have to balance that. And so I'm going to practice. As soon as we get off the phone, I'm going to go watch Robert Morris practice at the arena, and then Alabama. And I think we'll have a better feel after watching Alabama practice, and also Nate Oates at his press conference. He's always open and upfront about his team, and I think hopefully we'll get some answers. But I don't think it's as easy a decision as some people might think, whether he plays or not on Friday.
Brian Pasek, kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline ahead of Alabama's opening round game with Robert Morris tomorrow in Cleveland. And Brian, when a lot of people talk about Alabama going into the tournament, not a lot of people, people that don't follow Alabama a lot, the biggest question mark is, and the biggest thing that they say is, which Alabama team is going to show up defensively?
Well, I hope the one that's been playing late in the season. Alabama's got better defensively. I mean, you look at the last month of the season, and they've gotten better on the defensive end. Now, maybe the exception is when they played the Florida Gators, and
who may be the best team in the country.
Well, yeah, and I think you could take the May out of that. I think they are the best team in the country, and that doesn't mean they're going to win the national championship. Oftentimes, the best team does not. But right now, I think they're clearly playing better than anybody. And Alabama's defense, as you look at the metrics over the last month of the season, has gotten better and better. And I hope that trend continues in the NCAA tournament.
Well, and Brian, I thought I know they didn't get the win, but I thought they played with a lot of physicality and an edge against Tennessee. And then I know it was 93-91 in overtime, but I thought they played really well against a very talented Auburn team. I think those are two of your top 6 to 7 to 8 teams in the country. So I thought Alabama played well against them on that end of the floor. And then they played really well against Kentucky. I know they're banged up, but I thought they played well. And one underlying thing, and this will be a key in the game tomorrow, is I thought under the radar in Nashville, I thought we saw Jaron Stevenson play some of his best basketball. He and Mohamed Diobate, if Grant Nelson is limited or not available, they're going to be huge tomorrow.
Yeah, great to see Jaron playing so well on both ends of the floor. He's gotten better as the year's gone on, and he's such a versatile defender. And I think both of those guys are key tomorrow, especially not knowing the availability of Grant Nelson in the first round game. So hopefully both of those guys will continue to play well. The thing that I worry about with Mo is, with it being Ramadan, he can't eat or drink during daylight hours. I was kind of hoping for his sake, especially not knowing the availability of Grant, that we'd play a night game. And of course, that is not the case. The 11:40 Central tip will mean that they're going to have to, like they have been, and at least we got some experience with Mo. He'll wake up about 4 a.m. and eat and drink and make sure he gets as much as he possibly can. But he's probably going to have to play extended minutes. And when he comes out to rest, everybody else is going to get their water bottle. He is not. And I think that's not easy to overcome. And hopefully he'll be ready to play along with his teammates. But I agree. I think Jaron Stevenson and Mo Diabate will be a key in tomorrow's game.
And my last question, if they march on, rematch with Vandy, of the familiarity, or an interesting matchup with St. Mary's that could have happened a year ago, but Grand Canyon got in the way?
Yeah, I was watching St. Mary's after Alabama beat Charleston last year, thinking that it was going to be the Gales in Alabama, and this year it may very well be. That's a great program from the West Coast Conference. We obviously know about the success of Gonzaga over the years. I believe it's 9 straight now, Sweet 16s. It's going to be hard for them as an 8 seed to get back to the Sweet 16, but we hope that another West Coast Conference team doesn't get there, and that would mean that Alabama didn't. But that second round matchup, I don't care if you're a 1 or 2 seed, that second game is going to be a very difficult game. Now, hopefully Alabama has that opportunity, got to take care of business tomorrow in the opening round game. But after that, it's going to be difficult. Vanderbilt is a team that absolutely has the capability of beating St. Mary's. They're in the best conference in the country by a long shot. So that would be either way. It's going to be an interesting matchup on Sunday, and hopefully Alabama will be there.
Yeah, we certainly look forward to your call. Chris Stewart, Brian Pasek on the call live from Cleveland. It'll be on 97.7 The Zone tomorrow. Alabama and Robert Morris. That'll be a heck of a first-round matchup. Best time of the year. I know, Brian, you'll be watching basketball all day long today as well. We all are looking forward to it. We're the home of March Madness this year, in addition to the Crimson Tide. So we'll be having all your action starting today at 11:15. But it's going to be great stuff. Enjoy the hoops. We can't wait to hear your call, and we hope to see the Crimson Tide marching on to next weekend. But they got to take care of Robert Morris first and foremost. But appreciate it, and have a great call tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all having me.
All right, Brian Pasek, kind enough to join us in Cleveland, Ohio, of all places.
I think it's raining in Cleveland. It's not snowing.
Well, there's a lot of things that it does in Cleveland. Oh, we got to get a break in. It's not one of my favorite places.
Well, the Browns lose. The Cavs actually, now they got rid of Ladome, they're winning.
Yes. Well, yes. Final break in. We'll wrap it all up with your headlines next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a new wreck, 431 at Sutton Road. That's going to be close to old 431. Got Moores Mill north of Winchester. That one had an HPD unit involved, and had one on the Arsenal, Martin Road, and Mills Road that they ended up canceling HIMSI on. RESPECT is coming. Shoal Scholar Dollars is bringing the celebration of the music of Aretha Franklin to UNA on Monday, March 31st. Tickets at shoalscholardollars.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator.
Life go by so fast.
It does. You know, I've only got one upset today, Scott. Just one.
What is the one?
I got one other slight one. I really don't consider 8 and 9 games upsets, but
right.
I've got Creighton beating Louisville and sending them 45 minutes on the bus back home. And then my big upset of the day is I've got VCU knocking out BYU and ruining Seth Davis's bracket because he's got BYU sending Alabama home next weekend.
You got Georgia or Gonzaga winning?
I got Gonzaga.
Kansas or Arkansas?
I believe I picked Kansas.
I think I picked Arkansas in that one. That's a I don't know. And then Utah State and UCLA.
UCLA.
We're back at it tomorrow.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with